Okay, so it took a bit of time, but I've been to the depths of FM23 to find you guys the most obscure Wonderkids in the game. And I have found a team of 11 Wonderkids that could be great players for your save. And I'll be honest, if you're a Manchester City, Real Madrid or PSG, you might not want to sign these guys. Otherwise though, these players could be great signings in your save. We've even got some that are completely free to pick up. And I pretty much guarantee you won't have heard of more than 3 of these guys. So let's run the intro and get into our list. Hello everyone, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and as mentioned today I'll be bringing you a full 11 of Wonderkids in FM23, focusing in on obscure Wonderkids, and this is all in their database after the winter update, so there might be some new additions, some new players that you've never heard of, but we've never covered any of these players in any videos as far as I'm aware. They're all new players to me, and hopefully they'll be great signings for you. They're all on the cheap side, the kind of players that, yes, they're no Haalands and Mbappes, but could definitely do a great job for you and make you a ton of money, so we'll get into them in a second. But first, if you guys could smash the like button for me, we here on the channel would massively appreciate it. Subscribe for more and comment down below your favourite bargain Wonderkid. And with that being said, let's get into position number 1, which is our goalkeeper. And I'll be honest, there isn't that many goalkeeping Wonderkids, and it was very hard to find an obscure choice. However, I've came across this guy, Thomas Ahumada, who plays for Audax, a team in the Chilean divisions, and I do apologise if any of those pronunciations were wrong. Probably all of them were, but this is a 5'11" goalkeeper, not ideal, who is 20 years of age, but he does have Wonderkid potential and can be picked up for extremely cheap. His contract is also expiring within about a year and a half of the start of your save. He's good with both feet, an either-footed goalkeeper. Not often you see that, and whilst his aerial reach is pretty poor, he is pretty good when it comes to the handling, the reflexes side of the game and the kicking. He'd be a good sweeper keeper. He's not going to be able to play at the highest of levels, but he does have decent potential. He's 20 years of age, he's cheap, and he's a player that you won't be competing with the biggest teams in the world to sign. He could be great for you. I know he's not the best, but we had to have a goalkeeper, and now let's move on to our defence. And straight away, you're being treated to an absolute gem of a defender. Now, you might see here his price is pretty high in the £8 million mark, and I would say rightly so in terms of his attributes, but I have seen this price fluctuate a lot in my saves. In some saves, it was £2-3 million, so he's definitely worth scouting, and if you have a right budget, he could be a great right back. Firstly, he's very quick, and that is something that is so beneficial in this year's in-game engine. When you have that pace, the agility, the natural fitness, the stamina, that's going to be great for a player at right back. By the way, I haven't mentioned, his name is Thiago Santos. Probably should have covered that bit first. He's a Portuguese national. He plays for Estoril Praia, a team in the Portuguese Premier League, so the top division of Portugal. He's got bags of talent mentally as well, and then when it comes to his technicals, he's a great crosser, dribbler, good first touch, nice passing as well. He can tackle equally as well, and whilst there are some aspects to his game that are lacking, like his positioning, when it comes to being a wing-back in defence, there isn't too much that he doesn't have. Yes, that positioning and marking are weak, but everything else he is at a very high level of, and he's actually one of the more talented players in this list. I think he's an absolute gem if you can pick him up. His valuation should be way higher than this anyway, but if you did have to pay £8 million or so, wouldn't be terrible. Like I say, most of the time you can get him cheaper, but a great attacking right-back option and someone to definitely consider in your next save. Now I'm heading over to the second division of France. We're going to Grenoble Foot 38 is the name of the football club, and in their team is this man, Alan Chapachet. Now, again, pronunciation probably awful. He was at Southampton for a period, left on a free, and now he plays in the second division of France. He is a physical monster. 20 years of age, 6'4", great jumping reach and strength, but he's also got the pace to back it up also. Yes, he's not the quickest, but with that strength and jumping reach and being 6'4", to be anywhere near this quick is a pretty big success. You can pick him up for about £1.5-2 million ish, and whilst there are some issues in his game mentally, when it comes to the heading, the marking, the tackling, he's got it at a good level. He's not going to be a great ball-playing centre-back, but as an out-and-out defender, you could do a lot worse. We'll use the French leagues as a comparison. He's playing in the second division. For me, he could easily play in the higher teams in the top division with a little bit of growth. So he's definitely worth taking a look at, and if you can get your hands on him, you might have a real gem who will likely leave your club for a big fee should you pick him up early on. Another brilliant attacking fullback would be Lucas Esquivel. He plays in the Argentinian divisions for Atletico Union de Santa Fe, and for £2 to £3 million you can pick up a left back who, even if he doesn't grow much more than this, would still be a great option. A great set of attributes all around. There's nothing that he's lacking too much. Physicals, nicely balanced. His mentals are very, very good for a 20-year-old player. There's no real fault in any of those mentals. And then technically, he's a great crosser. He can go forward well and pass. Good first touch, a decent dribbler. He can tackle. He's got the positioning and the marking. Nothing at a completely elite level other than maybe his crossing, which is getting there. But he's a solid left-back option. In terms of bombing forward, he would be great. And he's got time to get better also. Definitely worth looking at. Definitely worth scouting. And he could play, for me, on a Premier League level quite comfortably. Perhaps even straight away in your save. Before we carry on with the list, I'd like to let you guys know I do have my own channel linked in the description down below, so if you like me and you like the content on here, you might enjoy that as well. It's more Let's Play focused. We have some rebuild videos as well as a long-term series going with Aberdeen, which a lot of you guys are loving, and it's one of my most successful series to date. But we also have some YouTube shorts where we show off Wonderkids you might not have heard of, like the players in these videos. We show how good they might be in a few years also, so it's definitely worth coming to check out if you enjoy the Wonderkids side of things. And if you could come over there, hit the subscribe button, I would massively appreciate it. But let's get back to our list and our next player, which is none other than Hugo Larsson. He's a Swedish central midfielder, number 8 for his side Malmo, out in the Swedish divisions. Of course, one of the better sides in Sweden. He is a regular starter for them already, supposedly, so he's one of the more well-known options in this list. But for £2.5 million, £2 million or so, you could get a great box-to-box midfielder. He's got good physical attributes, really strong mentals as well, good off the ball work and work rate as well as concentration. At only 18 to have that at a high level, it's very handy and also very impressive. He's 6'2", and then technically, whilst it is the weakest area of his game, he can put a pass together. He has decent technique, decent first touch and dribbling, and I think with that work rate, the teamwork, the off the ball movement, he would be a great box to box midfielder. Certainly worth taking a look at. Again, isn't going to play for Manchester City or Real Madrid, but could still be a great player for you. And as a side note, we are Man City here, and that's why the star ratings don't look very good when you look at players, but don't judge them. They are being compared to Haaland and De Bruyne. Forget about the star ratings, focus in on the attributes, as you should anyway in Football Manager, in my opinion. But Hugo Larsson here could be a great choice in your team. Joining him in midfield is the exceptionally gifted Dani Perez. He plays for Real Betis' B team and can be picked up for pretty much any fee really, and I know that sounds stupid, but whenever you load up a save, his transfer value seems to be completely different. It looks like here £2 or £3 million might be enough to get him. He does have a release clause of 15 million in this save, but I've seen all of this can vary in terms of price, even his attributes, so take it all with a pinch of salt. But he is someone that has a lot of potential and he's definitely worth scouting. No matter what version of him you get, I imagine he is going to be this technically gifted player who at 16 has nice passing vision and technique, but also dribbling and first touch. Your stereotypical Spanish midfielder, nimble, good on the ball, good passing, and very intelligent as he moves the play. He's composed, anticipates the game well, and whilst he does need a lot of work to be first team ready, sometimes he can be very cheap and worth picking up. I've seen this a lot lower than transfer valuation is showing here, so he's always worth a scout because he might be a real bargain. And even if you don't sign him straight away, there's a chance in a couple of years you might be able to pick him up, maybe loan him in, maybe get him on a free transfer, whatever might happen. Dani Perez is someone to keep an eye on. Next, we're going over to SK Sturm Graz out in the Austrian divisions, and we are looking at the Danish under-21 international, one of the most well-known options on this list, William Boving, who for £5 million or so would be a phenomenal signing. Inside forward on a right-hand side, he would do a great job at, or an inverted winger, of course. But don't worry, by the way, there will be some cheaper options coming up in a few minutes. But yes, William Boving, a brilliant player, 19 years of age, a lot of time to get better, great physical attributes, also strong mentally and good technicals, particularly when it comes to coming inside. You can see he can finish well, good first touch, can play a nice pass, has the vision, the technique, technique, the crossing to make it all work. He's someone with a lot of talent. He's very promising, one of the more expensive options in this list, but you can see why, because he's more of a complete player than a lot of the people we've looked at. So William Boving, check him out if you haven't already. And now let's move on to our next player, and that is David Mellor, who plays for, I believe it's Deportivo La Coruña's B team. Now he is probably one of my favourites on this list. He's almost a must-sign player for me if you can get your hands on him. 17 years of age, great ability all around, but you can go ahead and approach to sign him straight away into your team. You can offer him a contract and completely cut out the middleman in this, which is of course his club in Deportivo La Coruña. But of course you can just go ahead and straight out bid for him instead of going for that approach to sign method. Instead of paying compensation, instead you could pay a release clause of only £275,000, which would be an absolute bargain, because physically he's got the attributes and you can clearly see the potential to become a very, very strong option physically. You could see by the age of 2021 he could have 15-16 acceleration and be a very quick winger. On top of that, mentally he's got the determination here, the flair, the decision making, and whilst there are some weak areas to his game, he does have a lot of talent. But technically, of course, he has bags of it. He's 5'6", but he has 12 crossing, 12 dribbling, 12 finishing, 15 first touch. He can pass as well. He is someone that has a lot of potential, and if you did pay 275k as his release clause, I guarantee you a few years time you could times that by 10 if you wanted, sell him for a couple million. You could even maybe sell him for 20 million odd pounds if you get the development right here. David Mellor, what a talent, definitely one to try and sign in your save. I promise you there'd be a player that you could sign for completely free in this video, and here he is, Carlos Lalario. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he's playing for, I can't tell who, because here it says CDI Bifa, but then here it says PE St. Geordie. I'm not sure. He must be in some kind of development team or something along those lines. But basically, he's on an amateur contract and you can offer him a deal straight away without having to pay any transfer fee. And purely for the fact that you can do that, I think he's worth going for, because at the very minimum, you're going to sell him for a few £100,000 and make a profit. But if you can develop him well, you could definitely make a few £1,000,000 here and make a tidy bit of money. I'm going to be honest with you, he isn't a phenomenal player by any stretch, but if there's a Wonder Kid available for free, chances are if he was amazing, he would have been picked up by someone by now, obviously. So the fact that he's free obviously does suggest he's maybe not an incredible player, but he is coming from the Real Madrid Academy. He's someone that has decent potential, nothing world class, but is definitely worth going for. And maybe in your save, he could fit in nicely, but I think purely as a player to pick up and sell on for a profit, he's someone that you should definitely look at if you have him in your save. And that should be noted, for these players to be in your save, you'll have to have their league loaded or their nation loaded or players from that nation loaded to see them. So remember, if you can't see these players in your save, it'll be because your database is too small, which you set up when you start your save. But now we'll move in to our final couple of players. We've had some great talent so far, all for a variety of different prices. Hopefully they're all pretty obscure to you guys so far, but let's have a look at our last two. If anybody claims that they know this player, then I'm guarantee you they're lying. I found him on our FMSCOUT Wonderkid list and I searched him up and I just thought he is the perfect player for this video. His name is David Martinez. He's a 16-year-old Venezuelan player who plays for Monagas Sport Club, a team in the Venezuelan division. So unless you're a big fan of Venezuelan football or you happen to have signed him somehow already, I'm pretty sure he's one of the most obscure options in this list. He's on £55 a week. You can pick him up for only a few £100,000, or again, go ahead and approach to sign. But if you're a Premier League club, you're going to have some issues where he knows he can't play with you until he's 18 years of age plus, so he won't sign a deal. But he is definitely worth taking a look at. He does have Wonder Kid potential, and in terms of his attributes, he does have quite a bit going for him, actually. He can play along pretty much any position on this attacking midfield line, whether it's on the left, on the right, or through the middle, where he's also natural. He's got good acceleration, good agility and pace. He's got some nice technical attributes to go alongside of that, and some mental, some of which are lacking pretty strongly, but some of them are pretty good. And with the right training, he could definitely be a player that either contributes for your team or makes you a nice bit of money. So he's definitely one to take a look at. Another very obscure Wonder Kid. And now we've got one player left, our striker. So let's go take a look at him. And we have got the 16-year-old Serbian striker, Niksa Delibasit. He plays for a team that looks like they're called Kukariki, and he is in their under-19 side. Again, sorry about the pronunciation, but this is what happens when you search for depths of Football Manager to find these kind of players, and he is a very, very promising striker actually. 16 years of age, valued at around £2 million or so, a good finisher already with good first touch, dribbling and crossing. His heading's there as well. He's got some nice physical attributes. He's 6'1", and his mentals do leave something to be desired in some areas, as a lot of his attributes will at the age of 16 and being a player who plays in these divisions, but there is a lot going for him, and he is someone that with the right development could become a really good forward. He's left-footed as an advanced forward if we highlight it. I mean, he's doing all right, isn't he? He's not quite there in terms of being top level ready, but in some time, maybe he will be, or maybe he'll make you a big profit. Again, another player that I imagine the majority of you wouldn't have heard of. If you did know more than 3, let me know in the comments, but hopefully you have found some use out of this video. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Check out my channel in the description, but most of all, have a great day everyone, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.